Because if I don't know anymore. Should I? It's been a year since I got into self-improvement, yet I still struggle to be consistent with my habits. I would be stuck in this loophole wherein I start to do the good habits for a few days, and then suddenly I'd miss a day because something came up. And then that would continue on to the day after that, and then the day after, and then the day after, until I fall off on everything else, and I drop down back to zero. Then I have to start all over again. I'd start to question myself, okay, why the fuck is this not working? You know what, maybe this is just not for me. Right then and there, it would be easy to give up. Fine, I guess I just stop, but no, I always felt like there was this one small detail, like a missing puzzle piece, which could potentially finally make me consistent with my habits. But I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. So if you're trying to build new habits, then I assume you have a habit tracker. It's funny because every start of the month, you get this feeling, right? While you're making your habit tracker, you're gonna be like, okay, this is a new month. I will check off almost everything here. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna do deep work every day, 4 hours. I'm gonna study for 2 hours every day. And when you're finally done, you stick it up to your wall and you're excited to tackle this new month with a new habit tracker. It goes well for a few days, maybe like a week, 2 weeks. You're able to have more checks and less X's, maybe more greens and less reds. And it goes pretty smoothly. That same thing would happen to me, but by the end of the month, if you look back up to my habit tracker, you'd see how the first half looks completely nice, but the other half is just blank. I don't know if this also happens to you, but it does to me. A couple of my habit trackers looked like that. The other half, it's empty. And when I finally noticed this pattern, I was like, okay, what the fuck is happening? My thought process was, I was definitely doing something not right. So in an attempt to find that one small detail that I might not be doing right, I did what any other normal human would do. I scrolled through YouTube. I dug through the hundreds of videos about how to make your habits stick and all that kind of bullshit. And I came across this video, but I don't remember the title. But it was something like Aesthetic Habit Building System. I finished the video and was like, okay, this is the shit right here. This is the missing puzzle piece that I've been trying to find. So I started implementing what I learned in the video. The biggest takeaway was just do the barest of the bare minimum. In your habit tracker right now, or if you don't have one, just the habits that you're supposed to do every day. If you're unable to be consistent with it, then it might be just a little too much for you. Let's say it's to do 50 push-ups or study for 3 hours. If you know you're not being consistent, then scale that down. Scale? Is that the right word? So after watching that video, I scratched that old habit tracker that I had and revamped it to something like do 1 push-up, 10 minutes of deep work, and 1 minute of meditation. That's it. The barest of the bare minimum. Because like, imagine if I said those to a person or like a friend. They'd ask me, so what did you do today? Did you do anything productive today? And I'd be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I completed my habit tracker. I did 1 push-up, I did a 1 minute meditation, and I did deep work for 10 minutes. It was super productive, really. If you were in my position, what would you feel? Embarrassment. But that's the thing, the habits that you currently have, if you're not consistent with them, then you have to make it super easy to do. To the point that you know you'd get embarrassed if you told that to a person. You know it's the right amount if it's embarrassing enough. So why did I do this? Even though I knew that I was probably not gonna make as much progress, probably slower than how I'd want it to go. But I just changed my mindset to something like, these things are things you've never done before. You've been living for 17 years, but this is the first time you're trying to do these habits, so obviously it's gonna be hard to be consistent. So I said, okay, fuck the progress. I'm just going to think that I'm habitualizing the thinking. Meaning the only goal for that month, because I made the habit tracker for 1 month, the only goal is to think of the habit consistently every day. Just think of the habit, it doesn't matter. So for days, that's what I did. And they were super easy to do. So I got the feeling that I could just check them off immediately. Almost like trying to get it out of the way. I did them first thing in the morning. I literally just wake up, get up my bed, do 1 push-up on that wall right there because I can't do normal push-ups, I'm weak. Sit down here and do just 1 minute of meditating and then put a timer for 10 minutes and just work. It would go on like that for a couple of days and would even have everything checked off for a week or almost 2 weeks. But then on the 10th day, or almost half into the month, I'd start to worry because, okay, I've seen this happen before. or deja vu. I tried to not mind it, trusted the system, or whatever, and surprisingly, I went over half the month and I was still doing the habits. And the more days that passed and the more checks I had on the habit tracker, the more I realized that I was succeeding not only because of the habits being so easy to do. Even though I set like 10 minutes, one push-up and 1 minute meditation, at some days I would do way more than that. Maybe I'd do like 50 push-ups or maybe even 2 hours of deep work. My routine would be like that: wake up, push up, meditate, and work. And whenever I sat down to do my work, every time I'd finish a deep work, I'd realize, whoa, why did that go so well? Why was my brain so focused and why was I scripting so good back there? When I looked back, I realized it was because 1, I did some push-ups, and 2, I meditated. Those 2 things, scientifically, they'd enhance the focus of your brain. But yeah, I realized how much they benefited my work, which was cool because my work, or YouTube, was my #1 goal. And so since it benefited my goal, then I got way more motivated to keep doing them. Do you see the puzzle piece now? Good habits become light work if you align them to a goal. I realized then that habits should have a stronger reason for me to do them. They should have the right why, or I should make them purposeful or meaningful. My mindset went from I am trying to build this habit because it's good for my well-being and it's a self-improvement thing. I went from that to I am doing this good habit just because it benefits my #1 goal. I went from I exercise because I want to have a healthy body to I exercise because I can be healthy enough to run a YouTube channel. And I meditate because it enhances my focus to I meditate to have better focus for making videos. And that was the small detail that I missed, which incredibly impacted my habit building. Alongside that, I also noticed how the compound effect happened to my habits. You might know the book, but I've personally only read a few pages on it, but it was already super informational in just the first 5 pages. But since I've been doing it for a year, even those months where it's just 2 weeks of consistently doing them might look small in the present moment, but over time, it compounds. Another thing that helped me was finding an accountability buddy. Because just knowing that you have someone expecting you to do the habits or to complete the habits in a day is already a good enough motivation for you to actually do them and finish them. It doesn't matter if you try finding an accountability buddy for yourself or simply just showing your habit tracker to other people or making a deal with your friend that if you don't exercise or go to the gym today, then they'd have the right to bully you. No, don't do that. But yes, trust the compound effect and find someone to hold you accountable. And most importantly, in my opinion, just keep failing. Because honestly, all the tips and advice this world has to offer are completely insignificant compared to what you can learn from experiencing the failures by yourself. Patience is key here. If you're not inconsistent, then you just haven't done them enough. To finally be consistent with your habits, establish your #1 goal, build only the habits that benefit that goal, start out embarrassingly tiny, and focus on habitualizing thinking about that goal every day instead. And most importantly, do the habits, shut the fuck up, and just keep showing the fuck up. Why did this take 15 minutes to record? Oh my god. Fuck. We have a meeting in 5 minutes. Fuck. I'm gonna be late. Peace.